This is John Sadak, TV voice of the Cincinnati Reds, and you're up for Late Night Reds Talk.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a fantastic Monday night of Late Night Reds Talk Live, part of Believe Podcast Network and Bet Online. Bet Online is back and better than ever with our new web interface for the start of basketball season and more props and lines than ever before. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile website today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV 50. With that being said, because I'm god terrible at ad reads, we're going to start the show here today. I'm Tim Daniel. I'm very excited to be here with our crew. As always, joining us, the writer of Red Lake Nation, the producer of this show, and puts it all together for us, Mr. Nick Kirby.
What is going on? How are we doing tonight, guys?
We're fantastic. We are fantastic. Also joining us, we got him back. He had a week off last week. We let it slide around here. We're okay with it. Joining us, former big league pitcher himself, our good friend, Mr. Carlos Guevara. How are you, man?
What's up, boys? Good to be back. It's been a while. Feels like it, at least.
Yeah. It's amazing how much things change when you miss a couple shows, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're hoping to get our guest to join us as we had planned, but it looks like he had some animal emergencies, so we'll see if he joins us at the point it happens. So we're going to get going on this, and obviously for the first time this offseason, we have some Reds news we can be excited about and talk about, as the not surprising, not whatsoever news came out today that Jonathan India is your National League Rookie of the Year. And obviously we knew this was coming, had 29 of the 31st place votes, with the one vote being that guy. Just had to be that guy, didn't he? But with that being said, who cares? Jonathan India, National League Rookie of the Year. I'm honestly shocked he got as many first place votes as he did. I thought Trevor Rogers might get a little more than one, to be honest. But hey, man, the word goes to somebody. And Tyler Stevenson got a couple third place votes. So, and Vladimir Gutierrez got a third place vote. So the Reds were well represented. Yeah, they were well represented on the National League Rookie of the Year ballot.
Yeah, just what a season from India. I think he was just such a fun player to watch this year. And, I think when you look back on this season, obviously people were disappointed with how the season ended. But, I just think that India was such a just one of the reasons that this team was so fun to watch throughout the year.
Yeah, he was definitely a lot of fun right from the get-go. Had a little dicey couple of weeks, but once they got moved to that leadoff spot, man, he was in there, he was rolling, he was hitting the ball, making the offense go. It was fun to watch, and gladly he got rewarded for his efforts this year.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say the Reds probably found their leadoff hitter for a while, and so that makes it pretty exciting. Yeah, like you guys said, it seemed like when the offense went with him, and that's what kind of made it a lot of fun. Obviously, we kind of saw that breakout, really kind of starting the San Diego trip when he hits the home run there to in the bottom of the ninth to keep the game going. And I know a lot of people did not necessarily love the Fernando Tatis hick before he stepped on third base, but still a lot of fun. Was my favorite player to watch this year for sure. And we also found out is very fond of orchids, so he can put his National League Rookie of the Year trophy next to his orchids. So congratulations, Jonathan. Yeah. Hold on then. So were you guys kind of, I know we kind of talked about it for a second. So Tyler Stevenson getting the third place votes, Vladimir Gutierrez getting votes. Were you guys necessarily kind of surprised? I don't think Stevenson was much surprised, but seeing Goody on the ballot was kind of a shocker, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he had like a 4.67 ERA. Like I was surprised he got a vote. I mean, look, he was a good pitcher. But I didn't expect him. I didn't expect him to get a vote at all. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that
didn't
was
know
surprising
him.
when I read that on Twitter. I was like, what? I don't know. I guess I didn't really pay much attention to, I guess, the rest of the rookies. So I didn't even take a look to see who else was on the list, on the ballot, really.
I didn't either. I mean, I kind of said I felt like it was going to be like that somehow, somewhere or another, Jazz Chisholm would get it, even though he didn't have as good of a year as India, just because everyone loved him so much. So I'm glad that worked out in our favor. But yeah, man, I'm stoked. I think Indian's going to be the dude for a long time here. So I'm excited to see his future go as well. But let's kind of talk about some of the news going on that's, I guess, not as fun. And that's that the reports are coming out that the Reds are looking at moving some guys around. Luis Castillo and Sonny Gray have been names that have come up specifically for the LA Dodgers, was one name that popped up there. So here on Late Night Reds Talk Hot Stove, looks like we're starting to see that this is the discussion going on. And I know the fan base is really nervous and frustrated. So this is obviously, these reports are coming more and more to where it seems like there's fire to go along with this smoke. So what do you guys kind of take away from this Luis Castillo news?
I mean, it's really not very surprising to me. For the Dodgers to be the only ones that are being reported so far is kind of probably the most surprising part. I don't know. I'm just kind of waiting for the shoe to drop, for almost a deal to be made, for it to happen, just the way that everything's going so far and the way that, Crawl's been speaking lately. I hope it doesn't happen, but I'm not going to be surprised when it does, or if it does.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with them shopping Castillo. In fact, I would encourage it. I mean, I would encourage them to be shopping just about everyone. You should always be looking to improve your team, and sometimes that is through some, very difficult, decisions. Some, decisions that are, sometimes, painful, kind of hurt a little bit. So I don't have an issue with that. I mean, just it all depends on what his value is. I think that one of the like common misconceptions about the offseason is that the Reds, there's one like right way and one wrong way to approach this offseason. I think we would all love for the Reds just to kind of kind of go all in. You had a team that was close. You go all in and you um, make those moves to really make you a bona fide contender to win the NL Central next year, or at least kind of be up there. Um, but there's definitely another side that has validity, which is you see what Castillo and Gray and those type of players could bring you back, and you play more of the long game. And I know that's not fun, and I know that's not what Reds fans want to hear after not making the playoffs, 16 out of the last 20 years or something like that. But for the long-term health of the Reds, if you are getting back massive hauls for Castillo and massive hauls for Gray, I think you have to consider that avenue and see what exactly you could get for them, and how that impacts, the long-term future. So I don't know. It all depends. I think there's also the kind of narrative the Reds have no direction. Well, maybe some of that direction is they have to first figure out what's the value of Castillo and Gray, because if no team's going to make this big offer for Castillo, then you wouldn't trade him, right? You would hold on to him. But if a team is, then you consider that and what that plan would get.
I mean, you would hope that would be the case, but I don't know, man. They might be selling low. I don't see any, using the word direction, like, of them showing anything promising, to get anything back. Like, it just feels like, I guess, a total rebuild already. Like, a lot of Reds fans, reading on Twitter and other social media, it's like, we're just wasting the last 2 years of Joey's contract. Like, had a couple of years where they were good while he was here, but a lot of people are holding on or saying, I'm going 2 more years, and with this Reds train, and then we're gonna see what's happening, because it's pretty disheartening, man, the way that it's going so far. Thank God Jonathan India won the the rookie of the year right now, because tell you what, Reds Nation needed that.
Yeah, between India's rookie of the year and Castellanos Silver Slugger, it's like that's what we got so far.
Yeah, and I've tried to be as optimistic as I can, but it's tough right now.
Yeah, I think there's this kind of this idea that goes around, and I don't necessarily agree with it. I know what it shows, where people are kind of like, well, the Reds obviously don't want to win, and they don't really care about winning and this and that, and like it's like just about selling tickets, and the only way you're going to stick it to the team is if you don't buy tickets, and it's like, yeah, they make a lot of money on ticket sales, but like that's not going to ruin them. I mean, I don't understand why this idea goes around that like I think they do want to win. I think they definitely care, but I also think that there's the issue where it's like, here we fall in love with these like players so much. I mean, you guys remember like how much the city loved Todd Frazier, loved him, couldn't get enough of him. When they traded him, how many people were like, I'm not a Reds fan anymore because they traded Todd Frazier? And of course, he was pretty rough the rest of his career. But yeah, man, I think that like it just kind of feels like everyone's kind of jumping off too soon, because this could very well lead to something. I mean, I saw we've had some like the Luis Castillo trade rumors around there, and I know Carlos mentioned the Dodgers, the only ones mentioned. But I've seen like things like Seattle linked to them. Kyle Lewis wants to come to Cincinnati in a Luis Castillo trade. Let's do it. But yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different ways this can go. So if we even have an off season, I guess that's the other part too.
Yeah, I mean, they could totally just kind of be bluffing and pick up 2 decent, back the end starters and make a run at it. We don't know. I'm just saying that it just feels like it's going in the
It does
opposite
feel
direction.
that way. I definitely understand where you're coming from. I certainly feel like it feels that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But
I mean, everybody's pissed right now, and it's the way the season ended and the way
Right.
it started here in the off season. And so,
the
Twitter,
Bengals
we're going to
lost
let our
2
emotions out
straight.
on Twitter. We're going to let our frustrations know. But, as soon as game one comes around, we're all going to be right there watching and rooting. So,
Yeah. What was that Doc article? I think it was this year, where the second game of the season is for the real fans, opening days for the party goers. And I was like, that's so Doc. So Doc to say.
screw that idiot.
Oh,
But
shots fired.
Shots fired. We're getting hot
Yeah,
takes.
I don't know. I don't think even if you were to like trade Castillo, and I think you could trade Castillo, I think you could trade Gray, and I think you could trade Winker. I don't know if I'd view it like anything close to a rebuild like they did in 2016.
If
Even
they trade those 3, you don't think it's going to be a rebuild?
No. I said I don't think it'd be anything close to like the rebuild in 2016.
Oh, okay.
Because if you look back at that team, there was no young stars on that team. Everyone was older. The only young player like going into 2016 that was still controllable was Suarez, but Suarez wasn't even like a highly regarded prospect at that point. So I mean, I don't think it's anywhere even remotely close to that situation. You still have the rookie of the year, Jonathan India. You have Tyler Stevenson, who finished 6th. You're going to have Green and Lodolo ready. There's still a lot of talent, and there's still going to be, close. I don't see like that team losing like, in the high 90s or anything like that. So I don't think it would be like that kind of rebuild. I guess it just depends on what is your definition of a rebuild. I just don't think it'd be anything close to what we saw in 2016.
I mean, yeah, rebuild or just a money save. I think there's kind of two different
Yeah.
ways, huh? Like, I think it's more of a money save than a rebuild, actually.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know if you call it a full money save, because if the Reds really, wanted to go dirt cheap, they would be trying to move Moustakas with a prospect. And I mean, they said they're not going to do that. I mean, I guess, time will tell.
Sure.
But Luis Castillo at $7 million, I mean, in baseball terms, I don't think that would be about money, because there's a lot of other, creative ways to save $7 million. And the Reds payroll right now is already less than it was last year. So I don't know. Unless their budget is significantly less than last year, that just doesn't really make sense, because they didn't have fans last year where they're going to next year. So I can't imagine the budget's that less. So I think trading Castillo, I don't know, maybe I'm just being too obvious. I think that would strictly be about, trying to, the long-term health of the franchise, and being able to get back a bunch of young controllable players, because as much as everyone wants the Reds to spend, the money's going to run out at some point. You can raise payroll, $40 million. The money's still going to run out. And you're still going to need those young controllable players to be big pieces of the team, regardless if the payroll's, the 15th best in baseball or the 10th best in baseball. You're still going to need that. Even teams like the Dodgers, you see how much they covet prospects,
If you trade one of those two, Castillo or Gray, you got to trade the other, right? Because what's the point on keeping one or the other?
It would depend, I guess, what it is. You wouldn't just give away Gray. I mean, if you get a massive package, and it depends on what you get back for Castillo also. What if you could convince the Dodgers, and I'm just totally throwing out a hypothetical thing here. There's no reports of this, nothing like this. But what if the Reds went and tried to make a deal for like a Dustin May and Gavin Lux? Those are, younger players with more years of control, but those are already established players. Dustin May had Tommy John surgery. I think he's expected back around the All-Star break. So, I mean, that's not really like trading for like 5 years in the future. That's trading for right now, but with a longer window. So it number one would depend on what you trade them for, and then number two, it would depend on what's Gray's value, because Gray might have more value at the trade deadline than he has right now. So, I mean, it's all. I think people are frustrated at this, and I get it, but I think the Reds are not viewing as what pieces do we need in 2022 to compete. They're viewing what is the value of each player and maximizing the value for our long-term health. And there's pros and cons to that.
I think one of the bigger issues here is not necessarily what they're looking at their game plan. And this isn't me trying to knock the guy by any means, because I know he's just doing the best he can. But I don't think Nick Kral's ability to speak to the media is helping any of this. He seems to like have this tendency where like he's trying to like make the situation okay, but he puts his foot in his mouth at times. And I think that kind of makes people panic when he says like, we're realigning our payroll. And they're like, well, what the hell does that mean? You know what I mean? And stuff like that. I think that's what's kind of making people panic a little bit more as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know how much, but I mean, Nick Krall was the Reds general manager for a lot of these moves, like signing Castellanos, signing Matt Miley. He was the GM. He pulled off some pretty good looking trades. But Dick Williams always did the talking. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they need someone else just to kind of take most of the press conferences. I don't know. I don't buy this narrative that he's just this completely incapable guy that's just trying to run the Reds into the ground. Yeah, I don't buy that. I don't think you get to his point without like, having something to you, like you don't miraculously his dad doesn't own the team or anything, right? Like he worked his way up. So, I don't know. I don't buy that. I think Nick Kroll is more interested in 2023, 2024, 2025 than he is 2022. And I get why that's very frustrating to a lot of people, but yeah, the long-term game, it can pay off. So I don't know. You get back to us in 2024
Yeah, it's just
and
that
we'll
doesn't
see.
make sense though from what they have right now to be looking forward 2 years from now. Because I mean, you're going to lose Joey. I mean, Winkers are going to be that much older. Castellanos isn't going to be here. I mean, those are big pieces. Those are big bats right there. We're talking 2, 3, 4 in the order. Um, I mean, what are you banking on that you're going to be behind India and Stevenson offensively? I mean, I don't know. I guess Barrero, you can throw him in there, but that's a big if with him.
Yeah, because prospects are prospects, right? We kind of have this conversation all the time. You hear about these things Reese Hines does in the minors, and you're like, "Oh, that sounds good," but there's no guarantee when Reese Hines comes to Cincinnati and is on the major league roster that he's going to be what you've read about this time in the minors, right? Like, how many times have we gone through this?
Just
Friggin'
released a first rounder.
yeah, right. We'll get to that, but I mean, Jurickson Profar was the #1 prospect in baseball. I mean, I remember that like when he was coming up, and like now he's like a platoon guy for the Padres. It's like
Padres were ticked off that I think he accepted the option. They would have rather him declined at this point, like
like, damn it.
yeah.
Somebody fudged that up.
yeah, he's got a good agent. That's what he's got.
I think playing devil's advocate, you would say, okay, so let's say you do that. Let's say you do kind of go all in or whatever version of the Reds that would be, and it doesn't work out in 2022. And then you're left with Gray being a free agent, Castillo and Malley and Winker down to 1 year left, where their value, every game they play, their value is gonna, shrink because they have less control left, and they become more expensive, into that final year of arbitration. I think that's maybe some of the long term view on this is, you know, how much value do they have now, and what will that value look like in a year? I mean, remember, Luis Castillo is in the pretty much the exact same spot as Blake Snell was last year. Blake Snell was a very, very coveted pitcher, and the Rays traded him, and they still won 100 games. The Reds aren't going to trade Castillo and win 100 games. Don't get me wrong. But those are the type of moves that a team like the Rays makes that helps them able to sustain things longer. And the Rays are doing it with a significantly less budget than the Reds. So I've been a long advocate of trying to blend those styles where you do make those cut through moves, because that's what that's my biggest criticism of the Castellini era, is that they've held on to guys too long.
For sure.
And
Yeah,
got
that's a great
nothing
point.
back and got nothing back for them. So I'm certainly not going to criticize them for at least looking at what the value is of Castillo. But again, if you're not getting anything back, then if the Reds salary dump Luis Castillo, they're not. I would be livid at that, but I don't think
Yeah.
that's the case here. And let's see how it plays
You
out, and then
also didn't think they
evaluate
were
it
going to
from
get
there.
rid of Miley either.
Yeah, I was wrong on that.
Yeah, it
But
happens.
No, I said
But-
we, like all of us. No, but we're
Yeah,
all
we
surprised
were-
by that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I am shocked that no one made the Reds an offer for him. I mean, you could say, well, the Reds, the Reds, they played chicken. Well, whatever. Like, the team still could have made a move. So if Miley was this incredible value, let me rephrase it. If Miley was viewed across baseball as this incredible value at $10 million, someone makes a deal, right? Like, it doesn't matter if the Reds are
Well,
playing
they
chicken
sent
or
the
not.
goddamn text message and then they didn't let anybody reply. They just made the deal. They didn't wait for anybody. They waited 30 minutes.
They forgot to click reply all on the email.
Yeah.
They did trade Tucker Barnhart like 2 days before, though, so like they were capable of making deals. I don't know. I just, again, that's going to be one of those. I'd be very interested to see, number one, what does Wade Miley do in 2022? Because that is going to be one that people are going to be just ready to fire up the tweets.
Oh yeah.
And two, do the Cubs flip him? Because if the Cubs flip him, the Reds are going to look really, really bad. If they flip him for anything of value, if they flip him for a team's 29th best prospect, and you're really that upset about that, I mean, yeah. I don't. But if the Cubs are able to flip him and they get like a team's 15th best prospect or something like that, then I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, that was really bad. But
we're very scarred from the Aroldis Chapman trade. I'm figuring out still.
Yeah, that was a panic move. That was a panic move. I can assure you, Miley did not have a Aroldis Chapman, Gleyber Torres level return value. I'm not certain of a lot, and I feel pretty confident in that one.
I'm with you. So other news going on in the team right now. We did find out that Nick Castellanos has declined the option that he had for the additional years in his contract. So he is officially now a free agent. The Reds offered him an $18.4 million qualifying offer for him opting out of his deal. The kind of situation here is if the Reds do receive, the Reds will receive a draft push for Castellanos. If he signs for more than $50 million, you get a first rounder. And if not, you get a, what's it called? A competitive balance round B pick, I think is what they call it.
Yeah. Compensation pick.
Basically, yeah. So Nick kind of made the point that the Reds' current number 5 prospect is Jay Allen. He was the guy they got for the draft pick for Trevor Bauer last year. So this isn't necessarily something where I think Todd Frazier was a competitive balance pick too. Not to keep bringing him up tonight, but
big Todd Frazier fan.
Yeah, big Frazier guy.
Don't hold back.
Just kind of thinking, like, I'm pretty sure that he was one of those guys that was up there as well that had that bet going for them. So not the end of the world, with getting that pick. I don't know. Like, I just, no disrespect to Carlos since he was drafted in the major leagues. I just never felt like a baseball draft pick meant as much as like an NBA pick or an NFL pick. And maybe it's just because there's so many compared to so little in those leagues. But like, I've never once in my life thought about like, oh no, that's okay, we'll get a draft pick for this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not anywhere near that as those other sports. It's just, I mean, you hope, in those first 2 rounds, you hope you hit big, but yeah, there's throwing draft picks in there and stuff like that. It really doesn't mean a whole lot to me, to many of the folks, but I mean, at least it is another pick there in the top. What is it going to be, 50 or so?
Yeah, around there.
As long as he signs for greater than 50 million. If he doesn't sign for greater than 50 million overall, his overall deal, then the pick, I think, falls back to like after the second round and then a sub second round. I'm not a draft expert, but he has to. So if you're a Reds fan, obviously we'd love to have Castellanos back, but I think most of us have probably already.
I don't know.
Do you think the only way that we'd get him back if he didn't accept like a 2, 3, 4 year deal and he just wanted to prove himself one more year? I mean, what other place would you rather hit at other than Coors Field?
In his press conference for his Silver Slugger, when they asked him, would you be willing to sign back? He did say, we have the pieces to win now. We.
He's a good politician.
He's a good politician.
I know. I'm just trying to feed into the optimistic.
That's just smart on his behalf. I mean, that makes you.
I'm sure he was coached up a little bit.
Yeah.
Boris doesn't have his guys fly blind, Tim.
Should they have had him do the Alex Caruso blink twice if the Reds offered you this contract?
Yeah. And another thing, too, is to remember that GMs are forbidden from saying they are not interested in certain players.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, like I've always said, do not listen to anything GMs say because they literally can't say, yeah, we're not looking at that guy. They have to say, oh, yeah, we like him, like whatever. I don't know. I think the draft picks are a huge for a team like the Reds in this spot. Everyone views Nick Castellanos leaving as this just terrible situation. I don't know. I view it as it was a great signing. Number one, the Reds clearly got excellent value out of him for 2 years. And the Reds did at the time. Let's not forget, they were assuming they offered him the best deal of anyone in baseball. Like, I don't think he just came to Cincinnati for Skyline. Like, I think the Reds, made him the best offer in A1 baseball. He came here, he played here,
Craft beer.
he proved that he was clearly worth it. And, he's using the opt out that was in his contract that he signed. One of the other advantages to coming to the Reds. And he's going to go make more money. The Reds are going to get a draft pick out of it. You know, I'd love for the Reds to sign Castellanos, but, these long-term deals, they're such a risk, even for players that seem like a slam dunk. When you start getting, 4, 5, 6 years out, that's where you can really get stuck with some bad deals. And, the Reds, look at Moustakas. Look at how that deal looks now, versus how it looked 2 years ago. And I think if there was a 2020 full season, I think the Moustakas deal probably looks a little different, because that was probably the year you were going to get the most value out of him, or you would have hoped to. But I don't know. I don't view it as this terrible thing. I'd root for Castellanos for the rest of his career. I think it was great he came to Cincinnati. If he does leave, hope that draft pick becomes a superstar. And, hey, I think it's a win-win for everyone.
I think that it's pissing a lot of people off, because it's just another tally on the board. It's like, we're just losing people and losing people and losing people and losing people and not getting anybody back. Like, I mean, we lose Tucker. We're losing Castellanos. Losing Castellanos. We're gonna possibly lose another pitcher. Like, who are we gonna get back? That's what's frustrating people. It's there's nothing coming back and everything's going out, and that's got to be super frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I would also kind of say, who's the last free agent that the Reds let go, that at the time they let go, he had value? Now, I'm not talking like a Kevin Gossman of the world that like blossomed after he left the Reds. But who was the last guy that either the Reds traded towards the end of his tenure, or that left as a free agent, that really like turned out to play really well? Most of them didn't.
Duvall. Didn't you hear?
Oh yeah, you're a guy. What are you talking about, Nick?
The GOAT, Adam Duvall, Gold Glover.
I never said Adam Duvall was a superstar. I just think he'd be a nice fit in Cincinnati. But I mean, like the Johnny Cuetos of the world, the Todd Fraziers, like they didn't amount to much after they left. So I mean, the Reds have to I don't know, I guess some of their credit. I mean, they have made, I think, some of the right calls on some of these guys.
I think the conspiracy theory is they're going to trade Castillo so they can bring back Johnny Cueto. And they're going to do the classic Bronson Arroyo move, make one last run at it.
I love Johnny. I love me some Johnny, but I don't want to see Johnny in a Reds uniform again, unless he's coaching first base.
I'd love to give Johnny a shot if he's low risk.
Come on, Nick.
I mean, he was an average major league starter last year. That wasn't San Francisco, though. A little bit different scenery there. I don't know. I'd love Cueto on like maybe one of those highly incentivized deals. Like maybe you sign him for like the Doolittle $1 million, but if he makes 25 starts, it increases to $5 million or something like that. I'd be all for that. I'd have no problem with something like that.
Nice. I'd be up for that.
Bring him back. Let's go.
I'm all for it. Yeah, we can do that there. So, yeah, I guess kind of goes with there. Let's kind of talk real quick, because as we're kind of moving through, the off-season calendar now is coming up. So the Rule 5 protection deadline is this week. So you can kind of see there the list that Nick has of different guys who the Reds are. Have they already protected them, or these are guys they can protect? What are we looking at here?
I don't think they've made any additions yet to the 40-man roster. I would imagine the Reds are probably waiting until, right up until they have to make a move. I think the roster's at 36 players right now.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think after the Miley thing, that's what came out.
So, I mean, I would imagine that I would imagine that they're going to wait until it gets closer to add the guys that they don't have to add right now, just in case something falls in their lap. Like I had mentioned, Luis Castillo. What if you deal him if you get a great package and you make a deal and it's multiple, major league players, that would change who you would protect and not protect. So, I just imagine they're going to kind of wait up until it.
So yeah, this is kind of going through there. You see the non-tender deadline there. So I suspect that kind of looking through that list, guys like Luis Cessa, I expect will be back obviously on the team, and thank God, because he was a shining light for this for that bullpen last year. Kyle Farmer, to everyone's contrary love, will definitely be back on the Reds, I imagine, next year. I saw he was on MLB TV today talking about Cueto. Talking about India for Rookie of the Year.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the non-tender deadline will be very telling as to how this offseason is going to go. I think if there's one player I look at and I go, all right, how much money do the Reds have to cut or not cut? I think it's Tyler Naquin, because I think he's probably worth a little bit more than $3.6 million. Like if it was an open market, I don't know, probably close. I think that that site MLB Trade Generator, I think they have him like almost an even value at that 3.6. So that's kind of, he'll be an interesting one. And I think if you see him non-tendered, then I think you probably can start, maybe some slight panicking about how the rest of the offseason will play out. But that'd be the guy I would watch the most.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, obviously as we show here, so the CBA expires on the 12th, and winter meetings would be pretty bare of what's going on there for December 6th through 9th. Hashtag Barnstorm Baseball League. Let's do it until we get a season. I'm all in. Could you imagine like Joey and like Corey Seager playing together somewhere? Just like, yeah, we'll show up at the park and play here. Why not?
Joey will not be picking up a bat if that's the case. I can promise you that.
Fair. Makes a ton of sense. But yeah, it's kind of what we have coming up, looking forward to there as well. I do show, because I know this is kind of in the conversation we've been having. So our guy Max Alfonso had a quick question that he brought up into the YouTube chat. He said, who is more likely to be traded, Castillo or Gray? I think I've already said I think it's Sonny Gray. I think really honestly, I think he's pitched his last game here. I just I don't really believe he'll be on the major league roster next year if they can find a suitor.
I don't know. I guess it kind of just depends what their game plan is. I'd say Castillo, they'd get the most for him if that's what they want to do. If they want to do like a total like a rebuild, they want to do a money save type of deal, probably Gray first. I don't know.
If you would have asked me this before the Reds put Miley on waivers and let him go, I would have easily said Gray, because I didn't think both of those guys would be back. But yeah, I think it's probably Castillo. I don't know. It again, like I said earlier, it depends on what teams are offering for either one of them. But yeah, I guess I'd go Castillo.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Castillo.
I
love Luis so much too.
I did too.
He is easily like when Luis Castillo pitches. I watch every night, but I really want to watch when Luis Castillo pitches. I like Sonny Gray. I liked Wade Miley. I liked most of the guys, but Luis Castillo pitches. It's Luis Castillo day. It's easy to get hyped, but
yeah. You see,
I could get hyped for Dustin May Day. Let's make it happen.
The Reds
a lot of red going on.
I'd say if the Reds traded for Dustin May, it'd be the only team he'd go to in baseball where he'd have to get a new number.
What number is he?
He's 85.
I'm impressed you know Dustin May's number. That's impressive, Tim.
Why would he have to get a new number?
Luis Cessa wears 85.
Oh.
Tim, big numbers guy.
Big uniform number guy. Yeah, big uniform number guy.
That's fantastic.
Play a lot of baseball video games. I spend way too much time on the MLB The Show. Yeah. So other news here we have is Alex Blandino is officially a free agent. Talk about competitive balance, first round picks, or whatever you want to call it. We'll always remember the infamous national anthem standoff in Pittsburgh. That MLB celebrated, and then the next day sent a memo out and said you can't do it again.
What did the
Alex
Reds pay for that
Blandino-
memory? What was his signing bonus?
Alex Blandino would be like the most random Red to like go somewhere and like pull a Justin Turner. Like, could you imagine if Alex Blandino becomes that guy?
He was
still. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
There's still Reds fans that are pissed off that Paul Konerko was traded in '98.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was a Red.
I hold grudges. There's some real random stuff that I'm still mad about, but
that should be an episode. We're in the off season. I mean, we might not have CBA expires in a couple weeks. We might be
when we get into the dark days of the CBA lockout. I'll reveal my most upsetting moves and trades and fire them off.
We're gonna hold you to that because it's coming, buddy.
Yeah.
We're gonna be playing like MLB The Show on our live show in mid-December to find some content.
Realistic rebuild: how to make the Reds World Series contenders.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, but what were you saying before? I for some reason had some random idea to think about Paul Konerko.
I was just gonna say Alex Blandino, yeah, former first-round pick. It's the crapshoot that is the baseball draft. You know, like, man, there's just no rhyme or reason to this. I don't know. I wonder. Carlos, I'm curious. Like from your vantage point, like, do players view it like as much of a crapshoot as like I do? Like, is there a lot of like, if you're drafted 20th or 28th, like, do players like take pride in being 20th or 28th, or like?
Yeah, if you're in the first round, it doesn't matter if you're the 10th overall pick or if you're the 23rd. Like, you're a first rounder. You're supposed to be in the big leagues. You're going to be given every opportunity in the world to be in the big leagues. First, second rounders for sure, and those sandwich round picks, all those first and second rounders, they need to be in the big leagues. If you miss, you screwed up. From then on out, third, fourth rounders, you're like, maybe. But being like a seventh rounder, I never thought, okay, I'm going to be in the big leagues. I got a really good shot. I felt just like probably like the 20th rounder or the 25th rounder. Like, we probably in the same boat.
Maybe I've always looked at this the wrong way, but I've always looked at it as like there's 26 guys on an active MLB roster. I always felt like you were drafting those first 26 rounds as guys you could potentially be like, that guy can be on the big league roster. That could be our future major league roster, barring anything going on. Like, am I extremely wrong in that?
26th round?
The first, 1 through 26. So, you know what I mean? Those first 26 rounds, like that's like your active roster for the future, right? Like, that's basically what you're game planning on at some point.
No way.
I think if you get like two guys in those rounds,
I was gonna say, yeah,
that make the majors, maybe not two, maybe if you have like 4 or 5 that actually make the majors, and I'm talking like, the, no offense, like the Kyle Farmers of the world, like,
like Carlos was drafted in the top 10 rounds. You know what I mean? Like, that means that the Reds have felt like you had a lot of promise enough that like you would be a part of the team. That wasn't like, am I crazy in thinking that?
Yeah, I think a little bit. I don't think you draft a 7th rounder and be like, okay, this guy can be a piece in our bullpen in 5 years. It's like, okay, he's got some promise. He's got some good stuff. Let's go ahead and take him earlier than these other guys. But because they see something a little bit, like probably my strikeout pitch is probably what propelled me. It is what propelled me, to that higher round from, like a teens type of round. But yeah, I'd say first, second, maybe third rounders where they think that way, where this guy can fit well here, this guy can fit well there. Other than that, they're just trying to grab talent.
Well, they could then just like cut the rounds by like 20 then? My God.
They did. Right?
Yeah.
How many rounds do they go now?
I don't know. They cut it quite a bit, but
I think it's only like 20 or something now, right? It used to be 50 whenever I got drafted.
Yeah, it was like 60 something. What was it? Mike Piazza's like the 61st round or something like that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unreal.
I mean, I think they view it more as like, I think, like your top 10 picks that you make. I think they view it more as, we like all these guys, but we're maybe banking on like 2 or 3 of them actually contributing. I think it's more of like a quantity thing than an actual, this guy in particular is our guy. They like all of them for a reason, but I think there's just like a understanding that, only, so many of them um are going to, pan out.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I guess I guess I am in the crazies.
There's
Whew.
there's the 2000. There's your top. I don't know how many is that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's your top 7 picks from 2013, just as kind of an example. I mean,
Never will I forget when Philip Rivers was drafted, and his comparison was Andrew McCutcheon.
yeah. And I mean, I don't necessarily think that was even like an awful draft. I mean, Michael Lorenzen turned out to be a quality major league player, and I think
I think
just,
Lively's pitching for the Phillies.
yeah. So I don't know, kind of is what it is, and that's why, that's, I think, part of the value of those comp picks is it kind of gives you an extra one of those, lottery tickets, as opposed to just having your normal first round guy. You have an extra lottery ticket, at the end of the first round. So
That's fair. Yeah, I guess I was super wrong. I apologize. Blame the bourbon.
hey, it's okay.
I do have just one quick thing on Alex Blandino before we move to the next topic. Isn't it kind of amazing how many guys from the Reds bullpen they're losing? Michael Givens, Alex Blandino. Kind of wild, right?
As long as they don't lose Max Schrock, man, then we're really screwed.
Yeah, you're right there.
Max
All right.
Schrock in his tiny sleeves.
It's got to show off the biceps, baby.
Is Max Schrock their starting right fielder?
So, yes, Silver Slugger Awards came out, and once again, Joey Votto did not win one. I don't know
Nick
how this
Castellanos
happens.
did.
Nick Castellanos did, yes.
Nick Castellanos did.
Where he did his presser from a Zoom at his son's baseball game. It's kind of a boss move. I dig it.
Yeah, nothing but respect.
Yeah. So, yeah. So there's that. Once again, Joey Votto does not get a Silver Slugger.
They're just mad because he stopped using their bats last year.
I didn't even realize that he quit using their bats.
Yeah, I don't know how Freeman won that. I mean, it was close. Like, it was, one of those, super close. But man, just like this year, like all year, it's like, man, Joey really deserved it this year. Like, that's a shame.
Yeah, this kind of goes back to what Carlos kind of said like a couple weeks ago of the just how many more times can they find a way to go over his like head and screw him out of something, and it seems like that just kind of keeps happening at this point with this one.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. You know what I also found out the other day, not that this has to do with Silver Slugger. What the hell is the Platinum Glove?
The best player or best defensive player?
Yeah, the best overall. So, like, you select your 9 Gold Glovers, and then it's your top Gold Glover is the Platinum Glover. The Platinum Glover.
That feels necessary.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, your defensive MVP. I don't know. I kind of like it. I don't think Arenado was the most deserving. Like, I thought he kind of had a down year defensively by the metrics. Like, he was only like 6 defensive runs saved. Like,
He did early. He was struggling early, wasn't he?
yeah. When I typed in Nolan Arenado, the first article was, "What's up with Nolan Arenado's defense?"
Platinum Glover.
But yeah, I mean, like, he was plus 6 defensive runs saved. So yeah, I think a lot of those awards, like, I don't think there's a lot of research done into the voting and the process of that. But
did that guy hit? He's getting a Gold Glove. Does it make sense? No.
Yeah, I think there was, probably 4 or 5 or 10 or 15 guys that probably deserved a little bit more. But yeah, looking at you,
Zimbrowski probably
honestly,
voted for
like
that too.
the funny thing is he was like 5th on the team on the Cardinals in like defensive run save. Like his teammate Tyler O'Neill deserved a lot more. Tyler O'Neill's a stud defender.
Have you mentioned that you like him? I don't know if you've ever mentioned that.
Yeah.
I'm
Between
a
you
big
being
Tyler
a
O'Neill
Cardinals
fan.
fan and Clay being a Tigers fan, I don't even know what's going on around here.
I'm not a Cardinals fan. I just covet.
You just like a lot of Cardinals players.
Just Tyler O'Neill. Like really, I don't like any other ones.
That's more than enough, Nick.
too much. He's not like entrenched though in the Cardinal way. He's still. I feel like Dylan Carlson. I didn't like him like from day one, but he also like hit a home run on opening day, and that kind of soured my.
Yeah, I got a lot of Dylan
I feel
Carlson
like
rookie
Tyler
cards.
O'Neill's locker is full of mirrors.
Hey,
he just looks
should
at
be.
himself all
He's
day.
a stud, man. He's a great player.
Like
No,
he's
I'm
like
saying he just likes to look at himself all the time.
like he's like ravishing Rick Rude, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nothing but
He
respect.
like he walks into the restaurant or the room. Hello, ladies.
And we do have a Twitter question from one of our loyals. Shout out our guy WV Red Meat.
I love his meat.
Yeah. Carlos and Roy's trading grill pictures on
Shape
Twitter.
meat pics all the time.
Makes me jealous that I can't go visit in Texas for the grilling out.
You can.
We'll figure it out. We got a long off season. Longer than normal. So he asked, can the Reds put together an effective outfield without signing a free agent? Trades are an acceptable approach to answer this. Who's in that outfield?
I think
That's a great question.
It'd have to be trade wise. I don't think they can do it without trading anybody.
I guess one of the bigger questions is, what do you expect from Nick Senzel, if anything, this year? Like,
True.
like if do you expect like 90 games? I mean, I would take 90 games from Nick Senzel this year.
Who knows?
Plus, he also plays multiple positions. Like, so that has to cater into it.
Who knows what to expect out of Nick Senzel?
Shogo's going to come back looking like Barry Bonds' baby. He's going to put on like 45 pounds and just drop bombs next year.
I forgot Shogo was still on the roster.
I was thinking that about Senzel. I was like, oh, I thought he was a free agent.
I mean, I guess like if the season started tomorrow, the outfield would be Winker, Senzel, and Naquin, like left to right.
Yeah, and then your backup would be Shogo and probably Max Rock.
Kino's still on the roster.
There is that guy, yeah.
Oof.
Friedel, I mean, is still there. I guess Jose Barrero is a potential center fielder.
Yeah, athletically.
If he starts in center field, are people going to be pissed?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But what if he's like,
I think people are going
he
to be pissed no matter what.
Shortstop or
What if
bust.
he starts in center field and just like rakes and does really well? They still going to be mad?
I love the idea of him learning both positions. I just think it just gives you more options.
He's not playing winter ball, is he?
I didn't see him listed
I haven't
anywhere.
seen anything.
I don't know why he's not. I thought for sure he would.
Dude, at one
If I
game
was
I
him,
went
he'd be
to.
playing outfield in winter ball right now. Why wouldn't you? That's just making your resume better.
He's worn out from all the action he had in September with the team.
Yes.
Too soon.
Dude, when I saw him like that
Greg
one
is-
game I went to when I was like really close, he looked like freaking Tony Gonzalez. That dude was ripped.
Yeah.
Could they get back to the question? Like, do you think they could get a starting outfielder for one of these pitchers?
Oh, sure. I mean,
Like
Could-
who? Like who would they get in return
Well,
for
We could-
Castillo or Gray as
we-
starting outfielder?
was
Well-
it Bryce actually that put up the Reds Mariners potential deal where Kyle Lewis comes to Cincinnati?
yeah, I mean, there's a billion options. I mean, you got to remember the Reds got Tyler Naquin on a minor league deal last year. I mean, and that's probably a lot. It is a lot more of an exception than like something that you would normally expect. Tyler Naquin, the only reason the Reds were able to get him on a minor league deal was because of his injury history. But I mean, you can always find cheap, high upside outfielders, especially in the corner spot. So Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you could clone Naquin and he could be a right-handed hitter version of himself, I mean, that's like kind of the player you would want, right? Like, who kind of fits that mold. Um, I would be surprised if the Reds did make a free agent signing in the outfielder. Maybe not someone on a minor league deal, but maybe someone on more of a prove it type contract. To come here for maybe like a 1 year, maybe someone that's kind of had an injury history. But I think at the end of the offseason, there'll be plenty of the Tyler Naquin type players available for minor league deals or minor league deals with some sort of incentive if they make the team, where it becomes like a $2 million deal or something like that.
Yeah, I can see that. So I'm not 100 to circle back. I'm not 100% certain they could put together an effective outfield. I think a lot depends on health in that circumstance because we know Winker and Senzel are obviously dudes that Joe Adell for Luis Castillo. I'm in. Sign me up.
I need more than that. I mean, Adell's been a pretty miserable so far in the big leagues, but that's the kind of guy that I would love to have a package surrounded around, where you have him and then maybe a couple other other players. I'd love to get someone, kind of on more of that perfect, like kind of what I mentioned with the Dodgers, where you have, May coming back off Tommy John and Gavin Lux, who's, been good, but not met the expectations, where you get multiple guys that clearly have the upside, but maybe, they haven't, harnessed it all yet. And, that can completely change your franchise for years to come. So yeah, I like that. Something like that. But there's your outfielder.
I'll take it.
Max
Something to that
answering our
What the
questions.
hell's wrong with my internet?
Yeah, I don't think of anyone. I mean, we've already been joking about the Duvals and the McCutcheons coming to Cincinnati, so I'll stop that joke this week. I won't make it anymore.
Yeah, and it's just interesting to see. A lot of what's going to happen is going to be dependent on how long of a lockout there is. Honestly, in some instances, longer lockout could maybe help the Reds in some ways. Where if like if there's only like 6 weeks to sign guys before the season starts, I think there might be some guys kind of fall in the Reds' laps. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think there's at least a case where some of that happens. But it's interesting to see that there is some action already on the free agent market. I know we kind of talked about, is that something that could happen? Where players are wanting to get signed before the potential lockout, and there's already Rodriguez signing today with the Tigers. It was like a $70 million deal. So I think that was kind of. Yeah, it's kind of fascinating. I wonder if that's a sign of things to come, or if that's just kind of one of the, the Tigers are just trying to be really aggressive before. I know there are rumors that they're trying to get Correa signed, right away. Interesting. Carlos, would you, if you were kind of in one of these free agent spots, do you have any thoughts on what you might do? Would you be trying to push for a deal before the lockout, or would you be patient enough to try to wait it out?
I'd probably, I would think I would be patient, and I think I would defer to my agent because they understand that a hell of a lot better than I would. But I mean, feeling a lot better going into it with the job than not. So
yeah,
because it really sucks going into spring training without a job.
I wouldn't know. Yeah, but I think with that being said, we go ahead. Is there anything we missed? Anything we need to touch on before we get out of here?
No, I don't think so. Bryce unfortunately wasn't able to join us tonight, but we'll definitely have Bryce back again on the program. So if you're tuning in for Bryce and you just got stuck with these three knuckleheads, our sincere apologies. We'll send you we'll send you a refund check in the mail. We're honest people here at Late Night Reds Talk Live, so we'll send you check in the mail, maybe autographed baseball from Tim, not from Carlos. No,
Yeah.
that's we're not that. We're not
It's
going
not
that
one of
far.
these either. Just actually my signature.
Just literally
Straight
Tim
chicken
Daniel.
scratch. Yeah.
Tim Daniel and the 518 added on it.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for tuning in. As always, we are on all major podcast subscribers of choice. You can check us out on YouTube as well, where we get our channels up, and also here every week live. So thank you all for tuning as always. If you get a moment, give us a nice solid 5-star review. If you haven't already, please. It goes a long way for us. Other than that, thank you all for tuning in. Have a great night.